Welcome Riders, this is Nightmare Rider with you once again. This video is a response to the open debate between Jesse Cox and his fans over the nerfs that are being applied to patch 4.2. I think Jesse makes quite a few excellent points, however there are some which I disagree with him on. So I want to address those points now and provide my own balanced opinion. I highly recommend you watch his video first, which I will link to in that bar that exists down south of the video. Anyway, first of all, point number one. I agree certainly that just rejoining the game isn't going to make you instantly ready for super uber ultimate badass hardcore realm first raiding guilds. That being said, practice does not make perfect. I did my early raids at the very end of TBC and most of my raiding career was done through Wrath. I still learned the basics, still know how to do a fight and still how not to be a total moron and stand in a fire. However, it's also worth mentioning that I never used key bindings at all until right at the end of Wrath in ICC. There was no need for me to do so, but with the difficulty of Cataclysm mechanics, I had to do a serious rethink of how I ordered my bars and my key bindings. I now use the middle mouse button to teleport to my Warlock portal in an emergency, helps on the normal Antromedes. I use the shift and left mouse click to activate my health stone and give me quick health when I need it, because it was coming too slow and I just did not have enough time to be searching across my bars trying to find where the hell I put the damn thing. And this is why I now have a gaming mouse and a gaming keyboard to aid me in this. It helps me in the process to gain the skills that would be expected by any reasonable guild. I don't need to be an uber hardcore raider to be in a guild that needs to stay on its toes. Point number two. Way back in TBC, I found the first heroic 5-mans did adequately give me the skill to raid with. Remember Heroic Magister's Terrace, anyone? Let's not forget Heroic Manitombs and Heroic Steamvault either. Where am I going with this? Well, you do correctly state that there will be a hike in difficulty when it comes to moving up to harder content. But I think Total Biscuit described it best when he said it's like moving up a gentle slope and suddenly hitting a huge brick wall to overcome. Like in the Dawn of War games, I would always play on easy at first to give a feel for the game. The problem being that it pretty much allowed me to get everything I wanted, to take as much sweet time as I possibly could to build my forces to nuke the shit out of everything. For the glory of chaos! Excuse me. But when I tried it on normal difficulty, I found I was getting pounded into the ground with their best enemy units. The easy mode just did not prepare me or teach me anything I need to know on harder difficulties. And this is what I feel WoW is doing to new players. Maybe not to the same extreme, but the concept still applies. Point number three. You make a fair point about when Ulduar was nerfed, but as I explained previously, the easiness of Nax did not help new players to learn enough to properly do the fights. So it will only reduce the level of skill needed, rather than expecting guilds to learn from their mistakes and continue on to raise themselves to the standards that the game sets. Point number four. I do agree with that you can move on to harder content if you are feeling burned out. However, when you say Blizzard is trying to strike a balance between easy and hard content, I don't think they are doing a very good job of it. Plus, I don't think this balance needs to be struck right now. They are already allowing people to skip an entire tier of raiding just by running 5-mans and pushing Valor gear to be bought with Justice points. Also, there is a difference between nerfing content that is really too hard and nerfing content that already has a reasonable difficulty already to make it too easy. Point number 5. Indeed, we cannot tell what Blizzard has planned. We are not psychic, but based on previous experience, 6 months for the next tier of raiding seems to be pretty accurate. How long has it taken for Firelands to come out from Cata's launch? How long did it take for Ulduar to come out after Nax? To be fair though, I am personally happy with 7 bosses in one tier and one raid, even if multiple raids per tier like the current one would have been really, really nice. Variety is the spice of life after all, but I'm not demanding this overall variety. That and hard content will still take a while to clear for normal guilds like mine if the difficulty is constant to how it is now. Point number 6. This is a huge is-ought fallacy. This is not quote-unquote real life. This is a game. A game where we want to be challenged and not get everything for free. Because where is the fun in getting everything effortlessly? Granted, the complaint about some guy getting the content easier isn't my biggest problem and doesn't affect me directly, but I will discuss the bigger complaints later on. This is where, point number 7, this is where I have to scream objection at Jesse. How long you have been away from the game, or if you are just dinged level 85 from starting the game, should not be a determining factor on how hard you feel the content should be. What about all the newbies who want to learn how to play and want to feel like a fight is an epic battle in ancient lands between heroes and villains, and not just pushing over a tower of loosely fitted Lego bricks with your little finger? Why should a game be made easier just because some people put real life before the game? I put real life before the game, and I raid almost every day that my guild does. If my cat, Athena, who I love hugely, was suddenly hurt or sick during a boss fight, I would dart away from the keyboard so fast that I wouldn't even think about it. Same if I had a child. Real life is not something that should always is always within our control. Granted, I do think MMOs take some time and dedication, as you said, but if you ask me, giving gear quicker later on in the expansion while keeping the same difficulty at a higher level and rewarding players with more points for gear for doing harder content will better allow them to gain the skills needed to play a harder tier raiding content while still not taking as much time as people used to do. And remember, it's a huge non sequitur to suggest that you have to let your child starve while playing Farmville just to get hard content in a game. Point number 8. This is where I feel Jesse really derails this argument. Jesse, can you tell me the difference between these two scenarios? Player A says, I just started raiding and it's really boring me. I can stand in the fire all day long and nothing happens, plus even in blues these bosses are going down way too fast. I've tried hero modes in the next tier of raiding, but I wasn't expecting to be killed from standing in the fire for half a second. I want to learn to not stand in the fire and I want to get quicker at DPSing down the ads. But can't you give me a reasonable level of difficulty so I can practice for harder content? Player B says, however, oh my god, BBQ, this stupid effing mother effing shit of a boss killed me for standing in the fire. I love fire. Fire is my friend. It is so hard when I can't stand in fire. Wah! Please, please, Blizzard, help me. No content. I want to kill everything now. Of course, these are exaggerations of reality, but you get the concept. There is a difference between selfishness and reasonable feedback. Yes, we are associating the whining minority with the massive changes because it suits them the most. How can you say that Blizzard is not making fire hurt less than it is now, is not catering to those who complain about standing in the fire all the time and dying? And finally, point number 9, there is a difference between getting to do everything and not having to work to do anything. You had the ability to do everything before, but it's how fast, how easy and how quick you got to do everything that is the problem. As I said, when I used to play Dawn of War and I used it as an example, how can you expect everyone to reasonably learn the skill to do a harder content when you hold their hand all the way? Expecting the child to learn to go from cruising to walking on their own is not the same as expecting a child to never walk or run a marathon. It's possible to help a child in the process and give them little aids to do so if they are struggling, but holding up a child all the time and never allowing them to do anything for themselves will not help. I know I am using extreme examples again, but I know it isn't that bad. After all, this is a game, not a child walking. But I'm just making sure that the point is understood, and it still stands that you can have more ways to help a larger percentage of the players get to higher rates and end-game content. As I said before, you can do so by giving them more rewards for harder content. Remember when back in Wrath when you had all to our badges, next 25 badges and heroic 5-man plus next 10-man badges? If the system had been like that for only hard content, it would have been great. It would allow players to farm content from the first tier, buy the gear needed for the next tier, move on, and so on and so forth. Granted, I like the idea of 10 to 25 man being the same difficulty level, but you get my point, and that's neither here nor there. Final thoughts. I want to end on a positive note, that while I don't agree with everything Jesse has said, he does make a very good point about how content can become too hard. He is thinking about the issue, and he doesn't defend Blizzard on everything, as he has shown in many a time in his videos. Everyone should be able to see the content that the patches contain, but I feel that we shouldn't need to have a false dichotomy in either having content that is incredibly hard or incredibly easy. Jesse himself said that Blizzard wants to and is trying to balance it, but I still don't think they are doing a good job of it, since they can do much better like they did in the Burning Crusade. This is the Nightmare Rider, riding out.